When there is a call on your life, it is so important to have faith. Faith is the key to being able to answer the call and accomplish the task that God has set for you. And that's what our lesson is about today with Abram, having faith in answering the call of God. When God gives you an assignment, it's not always going to make sense. It's not always going to be comfortable. And sometimes it will change your very life, the way that you are living it and everything that you know. And it's important to understand that God is the God of the universe. It's not just about you. And when He's calling you to an assignment that is going to impact other people. Your assignment is going to, in some way, enhance the kingdom of God. Once we understand that, we are really able to walk worthy of the vocations wherewith we are called when God calls us. And that's what's so important, because sometimes we try to answer the call of God, but we want to keep everything the way that we're used to it, and remain comfortable and keep all of our same friends and even stay in the same location. And if God has called you out, then you're not going to be able to do that. The will of God, the plan of God is more important than our plans for ourselves. And if we are able to just have the faith, then we will truly be able to do what God is telling us to do and answer the call of God. Thank you so much for joining me for the Sanctuary Sunday School. This week is a little bit different because I'm teaching from the Standard Lesson Commentary, and I normally teach from Union Gospel Press. And I've gotten so many requests from people, or questions or confusion about which lesson. I decided to go ahead and do them both, because I do have a lot of teachers who are out there and superintendents who depend on the lesson and the PDFs for their classes, and I don't want to let you guys down. Also, I have brothers and sisters out here on YouTube who are doing this as well. I encourage you to tune in. Mine is a short, concise format. There are others that do a thorough, more lengthy Sunday school summary, and they're absolutely wonderful. I watch them myself, so I encourage you to do that as well. But I am presenting this lesson today. I also want to stop and say thank you. Thank you so much for your support of the masterclass as well as the ebook. The ebook is a free gift from me to you, and that's available. All of that is available at the website, www.thesanctuary.academy. Now, this lesson, the call of Abram. And this lesson spans across 3 chapters. It's the 11th, 12th, the 10th, 11th, and 12th chapter of the book of Genesis. And we're talking about Abram. And as I said earlier, the call of God in your life is it's a beautiful thing, and it's such a significant gift. But it also requires a lot of hard work. So we see here that Abram is a descendant of Shem. Shem is one of the sons of Noah. And when God took them to the ark, and when they came out of the ark, He told them to be fruitful and to replenish the earth. So we see here again that Abram is a descendant of Shem, and Abram's father is Terah. And so God spoke to him, and He called him out, and He said, I want you to leave your father's house, leave your kinspeople, and go out and leave and do what I told you to do. So now this is significant, because when Abram left, he didn't take anyone but his wife, Sarai, and his nephew, Lot. And God specifically said to leave your kinsmen. So he couldn't take any more of his family, and he just left. And we know at this point, Abram did not have any children because Sarai was barren. And at this point, Abram was 75 years old. So the assumption would be that they were not going to have any children. So now it's just this old man, his wife, and his nephew, and God said, go. So naturally thinking and naturally speaking, it's like, okay, what are we supposed to do? We got 2 old people and this man, and we're out here. What could we possibly accomplish? That is what it looks like naturally. And I wanted to interject that because that's how it feels sometimes. When God calls you out and tells you to do something, you look crazy. And people are saying, well, how is she going to do that? Or how is he going to do that? And this lesson really touched my soul deeply. I guess it was just a move of God that I did decide to start doing this lesson, because it really really minister to me and what God has called me to do. And hopefully it will do the same to you. So he told Abram to leave your father's house and just go. And he told him, you're going to leave and I'm going to make you a new nation. Now, again, he told Abram, I'm going to make you a new nation, but he's an old man with a wife who is barren. So now where is the nation going to come from? But nevertheless, this is where that faith came in. Abram just said, okay. And the word says he got up and he left his father's house and he went to make this nation. And it goes on to talk about what God promised to Abraham. He told him, he said, you are going to be a blessing. It's going to be a great nation. So it's not just a new nation, some little piddly nation. God said, this is going to be a great nation. And then he said that your nation is going to be a blessing. Okay. And this is something I just want to pause right here. Because sometimes, especially in the church institution, in the organization, when we say that we're called, right? And I have this call on my life, and I'm working wonders, and I'm doing this stuff, but are you a blessing to anybody? If God has truly called you to anything, or if He's called you to whatever you're doing, you ought to be a blessing. If He called you to ministry, somebody in your ministry ought to be blessed. The people that you come in contact with, should leave better than they came to you. So you're going to be a blessing to somebody. And then He also said, I'm going to bless them that bless you, and I'm going to curse them that curse you. That is protection. That is the protection of God all around you. And I have learned when you walk, there are going to be people right in your church sitting right next to you on the same pew. They're going to backbite. They're going to come against you. They're going to try to attack you. They're going to try to tear down your ministry. But you have the protection of God on your life. And as I said this a few weeks ago, you don't even have time to argue back with those people. You don't even have time to fight those people, because if God has called you, the word says that He is going to bless them that bless you and curse them that curse you. So the people who support you and help you, they're going to be blessed. And the people that try to tear you down, they're going to be cursed. So there is no reason for you to have to fight. When God calls you, you answer the call and you do exactly what God has called you to do. And listen to this. God told Abram that all of the families of the world are going to be blessed through your nation. How powerful is that? And I always say this, God is the only entity, the only power, the only being that merits words like all and every, because the rest of us can't. We're not powerful enough. But when you say, God, if God told you, all of the families of the world are going to be blessed because of your nation. And it's beautiful to go back and study this at this point. I'm so glad to be alive at this time in our life in the world, because we're living in a day where most of the prophecies of the Bible have been fulfilled. There's not much more to go. And that's why I keep saying it's the last and evil days, because God has pretty much done everything that He says He's going to do. There's some more things that have to happen before Jesus comes back, but we're really, really, really close. And that's something where to look back at this and to know that it's true. We've seen God fulfill all of these promises to Abram when He called him and He told him, now think about this, because when Abram went out, he didn't have this here. He just went because God told him to go. So now look at us. We have 66 books of the Bible. We know that God was faithful, and we know that God kept His promise to Abram. So what's stopping you from answering the call of God? What are you afraid of? Because you already know who God is, how powerful He is, and what God does, and that God will sustain you. And if He's called you, He will provide for you, and He will open up doors, and He will make ways. And if He told you to do it, and if He made the promise, that it is most definitely going to come to pass. And that's what we can learn from the call of Abram. He is the same God, the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. He is still all powerful. He is still omniscient. He is still the almighty I am that I am. And if God has called you, it is time for you to answer the call and to have faith and believe God and trust God and move. When God says get up and go, go. When God says get up and move, move. And we want to be able to respond to God in the exact same way that Abram responded to God. Just say yes, Lord. And there's just, again, one of my favorite hymns from my church background and my church upbringing. Just two words. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. If you can submit to the will of the Lord and say yes to the call of God, then you will be able to have success and you will be able to accomplish what God has required or what God is requiring for you to do. And your call can have the same kind of impact as the call of Abram.